Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to a new session of Happy Melly Coffee. We've been away for a few weeks, but we're back. We're back with a very interesting question from Maxime Bonnet. The question is today, how can we deal with remote management and different issues in nearshore situation? So we have a small committee. We have more people joining, but Maxime, you elaborate a little bit the question, where it comes from, and what's behind it?
Yeah. So the question came from my experience as a coach for projects that are distributed on various places. Mainly, as I'm in France, a lot of projects use resources that are located in Morocco. And so the project, the program, because it's a very, very big team, are handled by team in both France and Morocco. And when you want to deploy some of the management 3.0 activities in one place, for example in France, sometimes you see that it doesn't fit how you deploy them in France and how you deploy them in Morocco. It's quite different. It's apprehended by people on both sides of the sea differently. And I see that there is some cultural issue regarding the position of the manager, the way they handle the fact that we make mistakes and stuff like that. So I found tricky and to help deploying management 3.0, for example, and other agility good practice when you are in a nearshore environment, because even if people talk the same language, for us it's French, there is some other issue that are not, you don't see them at the first time, but you discover them after that, it's quite difficult. So that's my main issue with those team located in nearshore environments. Language is not an issue, definitely.
So if I hear you correctly, but again, I'm trying to listen in, the issue is more concerning the difference of business culture in the countries, where you have maybe a bit more flexible working culture in France, and people are more willing to try new things. And when you try to project that towards Morocco, the management culture, the business culture there is so different that it stops. Is that a bit the situation? And how can we break that through?
Yeah, it's a little bit that. If I could take an example from the management 3.0, if you do the delegation poker, you do it in France. A lot of people are quite happy to do the delegation poker and say, okay, it's very nice because we discover how people have responsibilities, who take the decision and stuff like that. When you try to do that in Morocco, you meet a lot of resilience by the management and the team, and it seems to be more cultural because they are more organized in an old-fashioned way of giving orders to people. So it's quite difficult. It's a lot like that. If you do, for example, the Blazon and the working on the value, on one side they're going to tell you, okay, we have this value, and on the other side, as they are near shore and they are using only our resources, it's quite difficult to impregnate them to the core value you want to have on your program or your project. So the activities on this nearshore situation are seems quite difficult for me. I don't found the answer yet. That's why also I asked the question, because I know that there is this cultural issue, and it's not only France versus Morocco, it's also happened. We are a company that's working also with Canadian people, and we also have the issue between France and Canada. So it's more something about the untold attitude of people that seems to be a little bit tricky to manage on the project.
Thomas or Vanessa, do you have your experiences with multiple country cultures, business cultures within one project leading to issues, and how did you solve those?
Hi, everybody. Well, good morning. Obviously, that's a big question. So when working globally, or even just working in your own home network and working virtually, which accesses you to the whole globe, you know, communication obviously is one of the primary considerations. One of my questions, though, that I'm curious to hear more from people, you know, what are they talking about when they say culture? Because my background's in cross-cultural teams and intercultural communication, and now the word culture has become a bit of a buzzword, and team culture and organizational culture is something that people are selling more, using for recruiting. So it's interesting to see that there's some conversation happening about culture, but I think everybody has a slightly different idea of what they mean when they say that. So I think that can be a first point of, you know, aligning with your team of what do you mean by that. The other elements, of course, is having an awareness of your own behaviors and things that are sort of in our blind spot, right? So we all think we're just kind of, well, I'm just me, I'm just normal, I'm just how I am. And so how do others perceive me? So raising our own internal awareness of self is always where I start when trying to facilitate better collaboration across project teams. Oh, I can go on and on forever, so I'll just stop there.
Thomas, do you have something to add?
I think my point of view is kind of, I understand what Vanessa said. Yeah, it really makes sense. But I was thinking different about the question. I was thinking in a more actionable way. You have two different teams on different locations, and maybe the problem there is related that they have some kind of thinking on how decision have to be made, or how people manage themselves. And thinking as two different teams, maybe you have to negotiate and find a point in common. Maybe trying to integrate more the two teams if possible. Like you have, from what I understand, is a team in France, other in Canada. Maybe trying to make integration tree help you guys to understand more each other before each team start to see that there's not too much barriers or boundaries between them, and trying to accept more ideas from each other. But yeah, that thing that Vanessa said is really trying to align what culture are between the two teams. Maybe something on this line.
I'm quite agree with that, and I think the team I coach use, to work with a nearshore team, and at first they are the way they were working is that they have in one team of their program people from either France or Morocco, so they are mixed, but it was quite difficult for them in order to manage some coherency between people, and the fact that they are looking in the same way with the same value, using tools such as visual management and stuff like that. So that's why we try to think globally and to act locally, meaning that we are trying to size down the team in order to be able to have them co-located in one place. And the manager I talked to, which is responsible for this program, wants to have one value, one core value implemented for all this program. But I'm not sure it's quite achievable because of this cultural issue. And the cultural issue they are more important than the process that we have put in place. I mean, you can say, okay, we're going to have a delegation board in each place and blah blah blah, but if the delegation board means nothing for people on the other team, in this culture I don't know of, it's useless, and then you lose time trying to explain something that is not applicable for this type of country. That's one part of my question. It was really, is cultural issue needs to be flattened in order to have everybody on the same level, on the same value, and the same way you are going to manage them, or is it good for a program that is located in various places around the world to have values and way of working that are different following the country and what is achievable and acceptable from one country to another? That's my first point. And the second one, when I think about it, it's also the way that in nearshore situation, a lot of time, the resources that are located in nearshore are considered only as resources, not people. It means that these people that are in Morocco, Canada, whatever, they don't feel as part of the core of the team, but they feel like more added resources. And how you can apply those good practice you can find when people don't feel part of the thing. That's my second point.
Just a few thoughts. I think personally, it is very hard to run a program, especially if it's a large program, by setting one value. So what I mean is, I can imagine that you set one goal, one purpose, one objective that is shared by the whole program, but let people maybe think of 2, 3, 4 values that they see that if they behave in accordance with that value, it is supporting that goal. And then it doesn't matter too much if the offshore team has different values that are important to them and what they believe can help to achieve the goal of the program, than the team in France, or then maybe a mixed team if they get the chance to mix them. But one value, driving one value throughout one team, even if the team is in one location, it seems very hard to me. I work in international projects, global projects, nowadays with a lot of Finnish people. They have another business mentality. Telling them that they should all behave, or trying to come to an agreement on only one value for behavior is, for many people, just going too much against themselves and the ways they were used to working. So I think with one goal, one objective, one purpose for the program, and good communication about team values, you might get a little step ahead.
Yeah, I can jump in here. I mean, some of the core elements of culture is, of course, values, and values are demonstrated through behaviors. So behaviors are easier to notice, and often we notice when somebody's behavior is not congruent with what I believe is the right way to be or the way you should be. And so those are great moments. We call that kind of like a something's up moment, or a hot button moment, where you're like, oh, why would that person do that? That just makes no sense. People usually don't walk around intentionally trying to have behaviors that make no sense. There's usually a value or a belief system linked to those behaviors. And so instead of criticizing your team members' behavior, looking into yourself and saying, well, okay, so if they did it, in my view, the wrong way, what is my personal perspective on what the right way is? And how is that linked back to a value that I have? And the way that we can build better connection between differing people, sometimes people can have the same value, but demonstrate it differently. For example, I really value my family and having time with them, and that connection with my parents and my children and so on. I demonstrate my commitment to my family by working really hard to earn enough money so that they're safe and protected. Whereas somebody else might say, I haven't pursued a very time-consuming career because I want to have as much time as possible with my family, and money isn't important to me. So you can see where these two people, one saying like, oh, you're lazy, you don't work very much, and the other one says, you're a workaholic, you work too much, you don't care about your family. And they both are saying you don't care about your family when actually they have a shared value. So it's about having the ability to see or ask the right questions of yourself or of your colleague to understand, well, maybe we have the same value here, but just our behaviors are slightly different. And it's easier to respect somebody when you realize, oh, we do have a shared value. I just now understand that your behavior to express that value is slightly different than mine, but I can understand and accept that we have that in common. So I think it's a bit of being a better detective of yourself and turning the mirror on, right? And looking at yourself instead of constantly pointing the finger at what somebody else is doing. Yeah.
Yes. I kind of understand what Vanessa said. And what is trying to say about integration is to try to understand the other team and your team as two different persons that have two different views. But yes, right now they are not having the same culture or same values. Maybe trying to, the two teams trying to talk each other and trying to identify the values or the culture that you guys have in common to understand, because kind of, yes, we love Management 3.0 practices and such, but basically they don't see that way. And usually we ourselves thinks that we are the person that we are right applying those practices, or someone is right applying those practices, but we never heard the other team. And maybe the Management 3.0 practices doesn't fit for them, or are not right in this situation, or this context. Or maybe it is, but the lacking that we have here is to understand each other and see if each other are in the same page, and probably try to create those shared values and try to achieve a common culture.
Yes, I understand. To be clear, I'm not the program manager for this program, so I'm not in charge of choosing. I mean, the way. I'm just an agile coach, and I try to give some good tip for the people. My first move was to think about a game. I don't know if you know it. It's called The Guardian. It's a game that is it's a game that has been made by European community in order to apprehend the cultural issue that can have in a project. So it's a game that has been translated in various language. It has been made in 2002, I think, and it's quite useful in order for people to see that even if they speak the same language, the cultural issue can have big outcome in their project. So that was my first move. The main problem for that is that I need to have people in the same room in order to achieve that. So I have to make people available for 1 or 2 days in order to achieve that. And I'm quite sure, as Vanessa told us, that if people meet together, I don't know if it's Vanessa or Thomas told us, if people meet together, they can extract the core value and the principle that they want to work with all together, and being able to understand that the rest, which is the cultural difference, can be achieved locally. But definitely I have to put them in the same room. And the second thought I have is that, but you also told me, you have to have some good communication medium in order to create some kind of a proximity between people. So we're studying a little bit how to do collaboration beyond borders. It's quite tricky question.
So if I pour in back from what Vanessa was saying, if you have gotten this one goal that this program manager would like the whole team to work around, would it be possible to sit down with those people, with the people in France, the people in Morocco, and just ask them what would be their way, or the ways of doing, their ways of being, the ways of working to comply with such a goal, with such a value, and then to hear what the differences really are. And I think that the person that has set the idea for this value should be present in such a meeting, because it might be that a person like that says at the end, okay, you know what, maybe with one we're not getting there because it means something different for the different teams that I'm on. But what if we have two and fit everybody's beliefs and people all start to act towards the success of the project? No? Would that be something that I know it's difficult with virtual teams, but these mediums like Zoom or any other video conferencing tools that are available, with a certain set of people, you should be able to have a reasonably good session. Is that something that the program director would like to look at, is willing to look at?
I'm not sure. The main problem is it's a big program with, and as all the program directors, they want to standardize things. So they have standardized the way they were managing people before, and they are looking in something that can't be standardized, which is support management and agility. That's my main problem. It's that it's not solvable in this way. So I have to change the mind of this director in order to make him understand that he can't achieve this goal.
Maybe the tip then is to try first to apply some management 3.0 techniques directly one-on-one with this person.
Definitely, yes.
I think you're stuck between two camps. No, there's one hand the guy that says, "I want this," but they don't want to adapt because over there it is very hierarchical, and the managers are used to demand things from the people, and the people are supposed to say yes and do it, while he's actually doing the same. So maybe he should be held a mirror first. I'm not sure. I've worked 5 years in France. I'm not sure they're very willing to do that. But I think this is one of the keys to break through the situation, is to
Definitely
find a way to get the guy to look in the mirror, or the woman. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm working with the manager in order to show him and that he can see in the mirror things and be able to then to go further. And there is also the way that you have to say in France, lâcher prise, let things go, which is quite difficult for him. Yeah, but on a big program like that, you can't do without some letting go.
Thomas, I saw your microphone going off mute.
No, I just agree with him. Yeah, I think that that's the point. Maybe maybe the program itself. I don't know which stage it's right now, but if it's failing, maybe it's a good chance to discuss why it's failing and try to involve everybody in the same talk and discuss alternatives to make it work or make it not fail again. And basically, it's one of the values of Agile, and I think there's no chance anyone will use that, even the person that's trying to implement the program itself.
Any closing comments, Maxime? Well, Thomas, we're almost half an hour on the way.
Yeah, well, closing comment, that was an interesting talk about culture and how you can apprehend culture diversity in a program. I'm quite happy about exchanging my thoughts with everybody. I will try to have to use all that with this manager and this program and other program I would use. So thanks a lot, everybody, for applying my question.
Well, you're gonna get the recording probably later tonight or tomorrow, so you have a reference that you can listen back to. We normally don't write out the full text of the chat, but I think it's good to have the reference in the back pocket. And I've heard some good ideas that I like to apply. Thomas, thanks for being there. Vanessa. Phil jumped on and dropped. It seemed that people have some problems with the connection as well. Thanks all, and we'll
Thanks
be
a
back
lot.
in
Thanks.
another Happy Melly Coffee. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.